Good morning, everyone. Back on another walk this morning and with another quick thought. Today I want to talk about vitamin D and how vitamin D is important for you. And it's important and it's interesting that vitamin D is sort of a natural consequence of going for a walk and getting some sun exposure. So a walk, which is things we have been talking about, activities we've been talking about, can be beneficial in this regards. So vitamin D, well, most people are aware that vitamin D is important for things like bone health or immune health, but did you know that there's actually over 1,000 genes in the body that are regulated by vitamin D? The truth is that vitamin D is so important that we're only now beginning to understand the scope of how important it is to our body. Well, a lot of people think we can get sufficient amounts of vitamin D through our diet, but the amounts that we can get through our diet are wholly inadequate for our body's needs. I say that, and what I mean is that it may be sufficient for our body to prevent disease or prevent some disease, notably rickets or things like that, but the amount we get from diet is not enough to enable us to thrive. Given that there's over 1,000 genes that are regulated by vitamin D, I'm sure we can all agree that there's probably a big difference between the amount we need to avoid disease and the amount we may need to promote health, which could be a different amount altogether. Other things that vitamin D helps with that you may not be aware of, for example, are mental health, and there's also an association with metabolic health. Two other things that we've been talking about that are also a positive effect of walking. So with regards to mental health, the issue with vitamin D is not really clear, but they do see that in people who suffer from depression, many of them also suffer from vitamin D deficiency. We don't understand this causal relationship. We don't know if we can say, is the vitamin D deficiency causing the depression, or is the depression in some way causing the depletion of vitamin D? Truth is, I don't think we know, and I don't think the science is there at this point. The other thing is the metabolic health. Now, we do know that vitamin D is important for both glucose and fructose metabolism. So another consequence of going out there, getting a walk, maybe getting some sun exposure, and getting some vitamin D as a consequence is better metabolism of both fructose and glucose. So as you can see, vitamin D is very important for your health. And I know that some people have concerns about sunlight exposure, but keep in mind that we're talking about sunlight exposure, not sunburn. Sunlight exposure is something that over 2 million years, we are genetically adapted and hardwired to expect. Our body expects sunlight, so much so that it uses it to produce a lot of things, including vitamin D. What our body doesn't need or want is sunburn, so much so that we have genetically adapted to produce our own defense against sunburn in the form of skin pigmentation, and even skin pigmentation that can adjust as a consequence of exposure to sunlight exposure, meaning vitamin or melanin production. So people can adjust their melanin production in their skin. It's darker, they get a tan. So again, vitamin D, hugely important. That's my quick thoughts for today, and I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day.